Title: The Last Light of Zephyros, a Tale from Eldoria. In the ancient land of Eldoria, where the skies were painted with hues not found on mortal palettes, crimson golds, twilight indigos, and silver-blushed dawns, there lived a creature of legend, not hidden in shadows, nor bound to cave or hoard, this being soared above cloud temples and moonlit peaks. His name was Zephyros, a dragon unlike those whispered in frightened lullabies. He was no tyrant of flame, no bringer of doom. Zephyros was the keeper of balance, the last of the skyborn, the silent sentinel of Eldoria's fragile harmony. Part 1. The Age of Harmony. Long ago, before kingdoms rose and fell like tides, Eldoria pulsed with magic, an essence called the lumether, flowing through roots and rivers, wind and wing. The world was whole, unmarred by greed or iron. Zephyros was born from the first storm of creation, where lightning met starlight and breath was given to sky. His scales shimmered with the spectrum of the heavens, ever-changing, never fading. His eyes held galaxies. His wings stirred songs from the air itself. In this age, Zephyros did not rule, for there was no need. He watched, guided, whispered in dreams to druids and kings. To some, he appeared in visions. To a chosen few, in waking life. The people of Eldoria built no shrines to him, for he asked none. Instead, they listened. They learned to speak with rivers, to dance with fire, to honor earth and sky. Peace reigned for 1,000 years. But peace, like all things, is not eternal. Part 2. The Splintering. It began with a fracture, not in the land, but in the hearts of mortals. A king of the lowlands, Valdrin the Iron Seeker, unearthed a black crystal buried deep beneath the roots of Mount Lorien. It whispered to him promises of power, eternal reign, God's blood. He named it the Nakshard. Valdrin drank its darkness. His kingdom grew in might, but twisted in soul. The forests withered under his march. Magic bent beneath his will. Zephyros felt the shift. The skies dimmed. Storms no longer sang. They screamed. He flew to the mountain, descending in a thunder of light. He did not come with fire, but with words. He offered Valdrin a choice: relinquish the Nakshard or see the world undone. But the king, now barely man, laughed. Why should I bow to a beast? Your time is past, Skyworm. The age of mortals has come. And so came the first war. Part 3. The War of Sundering. It was not war as mortals know it, clash of steel and cry of men. No, this was a war of essence. The skies darkened for 100 days. The rivers turned to steam. Beasts that once served the balance were turned into horrors, shadows of flesh and bone. Zephyros did not fight alone. The druids of the verdant order, the star singers of the north, and even the stone giants of the Irion Vale stood with him. But against the might of the Nakshard, their resistance waned. Valdrin forged a weapon, umbrellas, a spear carved from obsidian and fed by the shard's hate. With it, he struck Zephyros from the skies. The dragon fell. He crashed into the Vale of Morning, his blood staining the earth gold. The world wept, magic recoiled, and for a time all light seemed lost. But Zephyros did not die. Part 4. The Sleep Beneath the Roots. Wounded beyond mortal healing, Zephyros retreated beneath the roots of the world to the sanctum of Elderglen, where time ran slow and memory lingered like mist. He slept, not in defeat, but in waiting. The druids called this the Great Silence. With their last strength, they wove a veil around the sanctum, hiding Zephyros from the gaze of man and shadow alike. Valdrin's empire eventually collapsed under its own weight. The Nakshard consumed him, as it does all who grasp too tightly. But the damage endured. Magic dimmed, the balance faltered. Generations passed, Eldoria forgot. Until one day, the wind whispered his name again. Part 5. The Awakening. A child was born beneath a starless sky. Lyra, daughter of a flamekeeper and a sky reader, had eyes the color of dusk before a storm. From a young age, she heard voices in wind, saw colors in stone, felt songs beneath her feet. The world called her cursed, the elders called her touched, but in truth, she was chosen. On the eve of her 13th year, as the moon vanished and the sea rose unnaturally high, Lyra was drawn into the deep woods. The trees parted, revealing ancient runes, marks no one living had seen for an age. She entered the sanctum of Elder Glen, and there, beneath the roots entwined with stars, she found him, Zephyros, vast, sleeping, luminous even in stillness. He opened one eye, and the world shifted once more. Part 6. The Rise of Light. Zephyros spoke not with voice, but with memory. He showed Lyra the world as it once was, the balance, the betrayal, the sundering. He told her of the Nox shard, its pieces scattered, yet pulsing still in dark places. It called again, and new powers had begun to answer. She was not warrior nor mage, but she was awake. The Lumether stirred within her. So began her journey, through shattered libraries and silent peaks, across deserts where sand sang secrets, beneath cities of glass and forgotten stone. Lyra gathered the lost threads, ancient knowledge, elemental allies, songs once sung by stars. And always Zephyros watched, sometimes as wind, sometimes as shadow on moonlight, sometimes as a whisper in fire. Together they wove hope. Part 7. The Final Eclipse. On the day the skies went black and twin moons bled crimson, the shards of Nox called forth their master. A being of void, the Hollow One, rose from the chasm of fallen memory, seeking to unmake all that remained. But Lyra stood firm, not with sword, not with flame, but with a song older than war, deeper than fear, a song taught by river and root, by beast and breeze, by a dragon who remembered when the world was young. As her voice rose, Zephyros burst forth from cloud and flame, his wings spanning the broken heavens. Together they became the final light, not to destroy but to restore. Epilogue. The legacy of the Skyborn. The Hollow One was sealed, not in prison, but in memory, bound by balance reborn. Zephyros, his duty fulfilled, took one last flight across Eldoria. From mountaintop to shore, children looked up and saw wonder, not fear. Light returned to river and stone. The Lumether flowed free once more. And Lyra? She vanished, as all legends do. Some say she became a tree, roots deep in the sanctum. Others claim she walks the skies as Zephyros once did. Perhaps both are true. In Eldoria, stories are not lies. They are seeds, and when the wind sings, if you listen closely, you may yet hear the echo of wings, the breath of the last dragon, the whisper of Zephyros.